I'm Arjendu Pattanayak, and I'm a professor of physics at Carleton College, which is on the frozen tundra of northern Minnesota in the US. I was associate dean for the last 3 years. Right now I'm on sabbatical and becoming a professor again. So if you can tolerate a slightly long response, as someone who has fallen in love with the liberal arts model, I grew up in India, I went to St. Stephen's, but I went abroad for my PhD and then I've stayed. When I became associate dean at Carleton, and I discovered that, I knew I liked the place like the liberal arts college and I loved teaching there, but then the more I got into understanding how the curriculum worked and how it impacted people across various disciplines, I got really made me feel happy. And as an Indian, I thought, this needs to be in India too, right? And I came looking for opportunities to connect about 2 years ago, almost now. And then I ran into the Ashoka group. And some of the people from the Ashoka group are from Stevens. In fact, Sanjeev Bikhchandani is from my neighborhood, my high school, my college. So we started talking. I said, this is a great opportunity. So basically, we are partners. At the moment, not formal part. We have an MOU, but it's not like we are. Ashoka has nothing to do with us. They just ask us questions like we are big brothers, basically, or something, and we're helping create this. So that's what, I'm personally interested in this, and sort of formally through the Ashoka collection, I'm interested in this. I think education is a huge opportunity in India, and liberal arts is, as I said, I believe, a wonderful model. It's not necessarily the only model, but it's a wonderful model. Yeah, so what's my experience? I would describe it as a crash course, right? And things I knew vaguely. I'd heard of Jindal, Premji, or IIHS, and then boom, you get a sort of very fast introduction to everything. So that's been it has been very informative. The problems are huge. So anytime you think you might have found something good, you then realize that there's no way this applies, because as I tell people when they ask me about India, anything I say is true and anything I say is completely false, statistically speaking, right? We want something, it's there, but statistically speaking, completely wrong. So, I think the good thing is that almost anything you do in India can be productive, can be positive, right? Unless you are, by mistake, destroying the lives of 1 million people, if anything you do on the scale of 500 people, 1,000 people, 20,000 tak, it's liable to be a positive thing because there's so many things that you can change and improve, and it's a country in gigantic transition. That's what I love about coming back to India and about Asia in general compared to the West and compared to US and Europe. There's a sense of opportunity, of growth. Even if they're struggling financially, it's still a positive struggle. So what I would say is that I saw a lot of wonderful opportunities being articulated, some great initiatives. The scale of the problem you're trying to solve disheartens you, but if you don't start, you can't go anywhere. I felt very privileged to hear some really inspirational talks from all sorts of very good people. It's like you got the royalty of, that's elitist, but you know what I mean. The very thoughtful people in this arena were all somehow in the same room together. I love that. So that was kind of cool. Right. So I think IIHS, as I understand it, has a very different model, and I think it's than Ashoka. I think the two complementary models in some sense. IIHS is more on the real side and more on the graduate side at the moment, and Ashoka is the liberal arts undergraduate, and perhaps a little distance deliberately from the pragmatic at the moment. But both of them, I think, to believe that neither one of them is going to, in some sense, be more than a drop in the bucket, because the size we're talking about is not a large one. But there's a multiplier effect of training leaders. The people who come out of Ashoka or come out of IIHS should be among the best in the country and the best in the world, and they are going to influence people, and so it's more of a seed or effect rather than can we change everything. That's the job of Delhi University or something to think about, right? And the second is also to serve as exemplars. You do a good job with this, maybe you have deep pockets for whatever reason, or you are lucky enough to attract good funding and smart people. You make the mistakes maybe, but you also come up with the new good things. And that serves as exemplars for other people to not copy, but at least start from, you know. That's what I think is the role. I don't think Ashoka by itself is solving any of the numbers game is not going to go away, you know. So 500 students is not going to change anything, and likewise with IIHS. But in the sense of being both the first people in the game or the early adopters, and in the sense of being multiplier effects. It's hard to explain exactly the number of opportunities that exist, the kind of challenges that exist, and yet the hope and optimism and the ease in some ways in which you can make a difference. But if you see it in person, if you come here, then it really shines through. And I hope that more institutions, more people, you know, feel that and show up and get connected.